So.
Howdy. Howdy. My name is Maal Aradi. My teammates Salih Muhammad, Farah Ramadan, and Saad Muazzam. We're excited to have you here today to introduce our new platform, ExpertHire. To start our presentation off, we're going to show you a simple video about our project.
This crisis is putting a lot of pressure on the government and
Japan
society.
is home to the fastest aging society in the
Means
entire
we have older
world.
people looking after the very old.
87% of people think it's a problem.
There are approximately 33 million people over the age of 65. That's roughly 25% of the country.
We have a solution.
As a company owner, I think that ExpertHire will provide me with the best experienced people, especially in strategies, especially in consultations with my clients.
As a UX designer, I believe elderly people have very special needs in terms of digital solutions.
The concept done right has huge potential of impact to the society, to the economy, and to individuals.
I know personally many elderly people who would really benefit from ExpertHire.
It has the potential to actually create opportunities in these gaps and solves a lot of problems that many countries have today.
Okay, so thank you for watching our video. As you saw in the video, the main issue we're trying to solve is that the demographic of people aged 60 plus in advanced Asian economies is increasing rapidly. In fact, these days about 40% of Japan's population is made of people aged over 60. And these are people who are willing to work, they have the skills to work, but there are many different obstacles in their way which stop them from being able to work. And we'll be talking about this. And this is the problem statement. Before I continue, our problem statement was provided by Invent for the Planet, and this is why we focused on this issue. This issue we're talking about, after doing a lot of research over the past 48 hours, has shown us that there are three entities that are mostly affected by this problem, which is the aging population of these countries, which are aged 60 plus. There's the government of these companies, which have a serious economic concern that a large proportion of the population is not generating any income. And it is companies who can benefit from the services offered by these people. Now, Sally will talk about some key statistics.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I will take you through the statistics, and before I go into and explaining them, as my colleague said, we are focusing on Asia because that is what our needs statement told us to focus on. And I will take you through the population. I will take you through the population of those 60 and above. I will talk to you about the dependency rate and as well as the retired population. In general, before we begin, as of 2017, the biggest 8 giants in Asia that deal with the population and economy are found in China, Japan, and Korea. China is in the billions, Japan is 126.8 million approximately, and Korea following behind at 51.47 million. As you can tell from the animation on the screen, the population of Asia is currently high and is still on the rise. As you can see on this screen, we are focusing mainly on Japan, China, and Korea. The two examples here are Japan and Korea, but the general trend is the same. This specific graph shows you the dependency rate, and as you can tell from the green dotted line, from 1950 all the way to 2050 predicted, The general trend is dependency of young increases, the dependency of the old increases as well, but the general trend of dependency on each other takes a huge increase. On this slide, you can see the population of those aged 65 and above. It is currently very high. There is a very big gap between those 60 and above and those young, leaving a wide gap in the middle in the working class. It is already high from the blue diagram, and you can see the orange one shows a very continuous, gradual increase. The diagram on your right shows you the retirees per 100 adult workers. As you can see from this, look at China, and if you look at South Korea and Japan, there is currently a lot of them who are retired, and this number is also going to completely take a complete rise.
So the problem goes way beyond just a bunch of numbers. There are people that are actually impacted by this. We take the hypothetical case of someone named Kaito, the banker, and I would like to point out that this case is not unrealistic and it's definitely not uncommon. So Kaito is a retired banker. He worked in Tokyo as a banker for 36 years, and then 11 years ago he was laid off in favor of a new, younger employee. So Kaito has tried to seek work elsewhere, but he struggled to do so because of the stigma obviously associated with his older age, and because he also finds difficulty, say, in leaving his home, leaving the comfort and safety of his home, as well as the complications that arise when he tries to get in touch with his employer through the internet. So he spends most of his days behind the television screen, although he could be doing something much more important, much better for himself and for society. He wishes that there was a way for him to get past the obstacles that are presented by all of these new social platforms that he has to go through that are too numerous and too complicated for him to get accommodated with.
So, how can we help Kaito and millions of citizens? We thought about creating a platform, a smart platform, that can help these citizens use their time and knowledge and experience into something that they like. So we created ExpertHire, which will allow these people to find jobs that can be part-time, full-time, or also volunteering experiences. The good thing about this application or platform is that it's used on social media, so they can easily connect to other people in the community or within the same society. And they can find jobs that can go on with their special needs. And also, we also created a web page that can be approached through websites rather than application. The good thing also about the platform is that it's user-friendly, because as mentioned in the video, those people might have special needs when it comes to technology. So we made sure that we create a platform that's user-friendly, easy colors for the eyes, large font, all these features.
So this is a very basic design evaluation criteria matrix. We don't want to go very in depth because keeping in mind that we've only had 48 hours, these are our assumptions for what are the most important criteria that we have to look at. Through our process of selection, we found that an all-in-one platform using government records, which I'll talk to you about now, later in the presentation, is the ideal solution. So Farah is going to talk about how our system works.
2 minutes.
So how does it work? How does the solution even work? Well, like Saad said, a very important part of it is to get the data that we need from the government. And then once we have that, we will also be charging the government a fee to give us this data because we are solving a very big problem for them. And then we'll use data analysis to match these people, these elders, with jobs that are better for them, that are fitted for their expertise. And we will determine the rates charged for these people because they are skilled and they are experienced, and we want to ensure that they're not being exploited. We'll also have a commission rate for us because we do need to operate an organization to keep this going and keep it functional.
Okay, so this is a very quick cash flow diagram for how we plan on possibly earning money if we are to continue this after this competition. So our outputs, which are things we spend on, are payments made to our users who were 60 plus workers who were connected to companies or clients through our software, and operational costs for running the business. And our income sources are government fees for maintaining each person's record in our databases, as well as companies and clients who we do services for, because we make their lives a lot easier by making sure they're matched with the right person. Once again, these are our incomes and costs. I'd like to mention that marketing is highlighted in our costs because we found that if we use the government method, if we're getting data from the government, we can save a lot of money on marketing. And this is usually a big hurdle for startups because they have to spend a lot of money on marketing. But we'll be getting the data from government already, so we don't need to spend too much money on that.
And in terms of competitors, we have looked at the current market, and while we do have some companies like this, Indeed and CrowdWorks, which are job search engines that are online, there's nothing really that can attend to the problem and really target it and attack it in the way that we do. And the way where you're getting people, you're getting their data, you're kind of specializing something to them. You act as an intermediary, you make sure everything works well. Nothing exists online to this extent, and this is the extent that we want to go to ensure that the problem is solved.
So this is our mission statement, and we'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Questions?
So your target audience mainly is the citizens aged more than 60 years old, right?
Yes.
And what will be the medium that they'll use?
The medium? So
the mobile app.
So we have an app going around. Currently, the phones are with the judges. If they can be passed around to everyone, you can take a look at what our software will look like.
Yeah, my question is this: do you think the app is a good medium for them to use? I mean, my mother isn't even 60 years old, and she finds difficulty using her phone. So I wouldn't expect citizens more than 60 years old to find it easy to navigate through an app.
Well, one of the things that is going to set us apart from other competitors is that ours is going to be very, very simple. If you go on a lot of job search engines and things like that, they are difficult. So as long as they can get onto the app, and we also have a website for those who maybe don't use mobile phones and would rather sit behind a desktop. There's a website and there's also this app. It's very, very simple. We've used very large fonts. We're also going to have an auditory option where you can just click it and you can get assistance. So say maybe you don't have the best vision, or for any reason you might want to hear it, you might need assistance or guidance. We'll have that option so that it's much easier. There are a lot of accommodations that we plan to have.
Yeah, also we'll try to avoid having a lot of confusing buttons and directions within the app itself, because it can be very hard for them to navigate through it. So we're keeping in mind the users when we create the application.
I mean, mainly I wouldn't expect citizens that's aged more than 60 years old to even have smartphones from the beginning.
So this is all based on our market research for the target market. In East Asia, especially in advanced economies in East Asia, life is very different to what it is here. And there's 80% internet penetration rate, and around 70 to 80% of senior citizens do use the internet applications and mobile phones.
Dr. Jane?
Yes, I'm over 60, and I have trouble using my smartphone. But what I would like to know is, have you thought about having what I would call counseling centers? Places where people over 60 could go and could work through with maybe someone who's running the center or someone who's helping out, where they might fit into what you're trying to do.
So that's what our running costs include. We have planned on having a call center, but that's a very good suggestion of having a counseling center. We haven't thought about that before. But we were planning on having something like a call center for people who have difficulty with technology.
Thank you for that.
Also, the main idea of our platform is that we'll try to be connected as much as we can to the users to make it easy for them to find whatever they want. Because if you look at the current existing websites online, there's a lot of confusing materials there, and you might not be able to use it alone.
It's true, and we're always there. Like, it doesn't stop beyond, oh, you've contacted a potential employer, therefore here's, this person's phone number and their email. No, it doesn't stop there. We're always going to be there to make sure that things are going as they should.
And to build on what Farah just said, we had to skip through our process, but step 7 is basically provide task management help to the people who are using our software, because we'll be getting that information from the client or company and helping them complete the job. And the more we do that, the more popularity we'll gain, and that's how we plan on continuing.
Any other questions?
Thank you for your presentation. Just a quick question. The companies that you're targeting, are they going to be both from the public and the private sector, or what's your focus on that?
So we're focusing on the public sector for one main reason, which is defined in our needs statement. This is a bigger need for the government than for anyone else, because the government benefits directly from our solution, which is why the government is, and we have found sources that say, is applying pressure to the public sector to employ more elderly people. Yeah.
To increase the retirement age as well. There have been lots of articles written about that, if you look it up on the internet, where they're trying to increase their retirement age. So instead of doing all that, let's skip all those steps and provide a solution ourselves.
And if the public sector does adopt this, then obviously the private sector competes with the public sector, so it'll become more of a social corporate responsibility too.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.